Salutations, everyone. It's time for another episode of Viewport Relay, a bi-weekly podcast where the Viewport team looks at the latest news in the gaming industry. As always, I'm your host, Albert Corson, joined by Tristan Jung.
Hello.
And Alex Nestor.
Hey.
We are at episode 63, which means we are one below 64, which is a number that I guess was in a game console.
Mm-hmm.
63 was never in a game console. Where's Nintendo 63, huh?
I feel like these cold opens are potentially getting worse every episode.
Yeah, they're getting more frigid as we go.
They're getting colder.
The colder
Isn't
and
the
colder.
colder the better? Isn't that better? Or are we going there? Are we going to be hot open? Is there a hot open?
Oh man, we just go full pistons right at the start. Just deliver the hottest take right
Full
at the beginning.
pistons. I've never heard that term before.
Albert, you said you had a hot take today.
We'll get to that. So normally this is the part where I do our favorite segment, and that being, what are you guys playing? And we're still going to ask that question, but I assume it's going to be the same answer from at least two of us for the most part. So we're going to start with Alex, and you can go for. I'm gonna cut you off for 2 minutes because I have a feeling that Tristan Jung and I are going to talk a lot about a certain game.
Yeah. I feel 2 minutes is more than enough. So I think I played about, 10 minutes of Cyberpunk maybe. I got through character creation. But, for the latest patch of Final Fantasy 14, it came out. So I joined I guess, semi-casual static? Question mark?
A static is like, for those of you unaware, it's like a dedicated
it's like a dedicated group. We all agree on times to go do the current hard content of raiding. So basically 4 floors of just pain and learning. So we made it through 2 floors so far.
I can't tell at this point if Alex is just way better at raiding than Tristan, or that Alex just has a much better static than Tristan did.
I have a static, and Tristan would always do PF, which...
Oh, he was subbing. No, but Tristan subbed for a static. That's where most of his clears came from. He
wasn't really ever like a primary member, so he would just have to kind of step in and
he's just some
ad-lib and try to figure out mechanics while everybody else is like, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on. I've done this like 4 weeks in a row.
My schedule did not fit towards a static lifestyle, as you know, in the before times when I was living the lavish.
Yeah, when you're partying every night and everything.
The block parties.
I have none of those issues. I just never go outside, so it's perfect for me. And I have a group that all does the normal, typical full-time work, so, we all get off at around the same time, so it actually works out. It's not like a random...
that's Tristan's problem right there.
Noon o'clock raid time.
Like, you mean you guys can't raid at 10 o'clock when I'm done working? Okay.
Yeah, it's been fun so far, and I said casual in quotes because I think we ended up rating about 5 of the 7 days just because we were having fun, so we just wanted to keep progging.
Tristan, when does it begin to fall apart?
When does it fall apart? It might fall apart during 11, we'll see, because E11 or Eden 11 is where it ends up getting way harder in terms of typical raid structure. But yeah, other than that, that's really all the time I've had to do is making raid food and raid potions and, raiding in general.
But why would you raid in that game when you could raid in a game called Cyberpunk 2077? It's here. The wait is over. Tristan Jung and I have played it in person, along with millions of other people.
8 million people, to be exact. At least, right? That's how many pre-orders there were?
Yeah. At least it made it. It is a profitable game. Like 1 day in, it was profitable.
That's actually just
Square
crazy.
Enix is crying about the Avengers.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say FF15, but I was like, what? Didn't that game also like a weekend was already profitable or something like that? I think we've talked about it on this before. Anyways, maybe I should have structured. Like, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. I will preface, this will be a spoiler-free podcast, so there will not be any drops on any specific story beats. We might get into some mechanics or like some like I don't know, skills in the skill tree or like hey, you find this type of gun, but it's not going to be like anything super crazy.
All right. Well, we'll start easy. I'll give you a topic. How's the gunplay feel? How does it kind of play in terms of, the actual combat aspect?
All right. I've organized my thought because I've published
you read a small Twitter novel, I think, at this point.
I should have just made it a full review at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I'm
it was
looking
like
forward to it.
Yeah, it can't be a bite-sized review, Tristan. If you're taking 15 bites, okay? Like,
yeah. Personally, I'm waiting for the Audible version to come out before
it took me like an hour to write the whole thing, and I was like, why did I do this on Twitter?
So someone's gonna like have to click through like 50 tweets.
Gunplay, this is how I did it. I put it miles ahead of Fallout, a little behind actual shooter games. I feel like the guns feel nice. There's recoil, there's different modifications you can make, and it actually makes sense. It's not like in Fallout 4 where every gun kind of feels the same, or in like Battlefield 1 where every gun is the same. It actually feels like a shooter. I would say it's very, very close to Borderlands, maybe even better than Borderlands in terms of the actual gunplay.
I can agree with that. I like the fact that in Borderlands fashion, there's like different like types of guns, right? So Borderlands is, you got the Maliwan guns where they're all elemental. You got the Torg guns, which all blow up. In this game, it's, you have the power guns that can ricochet bullets. You have the tech weapons that can shoot through like walls and things like that.
I would place it. I would place it between Borderlands and Destiny. I think that is the best comparison I can make.
Yeah, that'd probably be pretty good.
Like the guns actually feel meaty, and it feels like they have weight. Whereas Borderlands, I feel like they're a little floaty, right?
Yeah, they always kind of feel like toys. They don't really cause much impact to the enemies that you're hitting. Yeah. Whereas I noticed when I was watching streams of Cyberpunk while raiding, like, you'll shoot somebody in the body and they'll just like recoil backwards if it's a very strong gun, like a revolver or something.
Yeah, so my favorite strategy, I told you guys already, is run up to someone, shotgun them in the torso so they fall over, and then I crouch down and aim the shotgun at their head and then shoot again. And you can kind of guess what happens. But that, like, I think the whole physics interaction makes it a more fun shooter than like Fallout, where everything just kind of either gibs or falls over.
Mm-hmm.
There's I think I recorded, I might have a clip of it, but there's a funny interaction where if there's a dead body on the ground and someone who has a melee weapon is running at you, they'll trip over the body.
Mm-hmm.
And so one time there was a corridor and there was like 2 dead people in the corridor, and then like 4 melee people tried to get to me and they all just kept tripping over the bodies. It was pretty funny. I don't know if that's a bug or that's intended, but
oh, everything's a feature until it's patched out.
It's true.
Bugs are kind of endearing in that way. But, so on
I want to talk more gunplay a little bit. Yeah, so in terms of the gunplay, I really like it. It's the one thing that was weird for me that I see why they did it, just based off of, like, CD Projekt Red and how, like, they want you, at least in The Witcher, right? You got the sense, I mean, Tristan, I know you didn't play a lot, but you get the sense where in The Witcher, they wanted you to, think about every combat encounter you're going to go into, right? And prep beforehand, right? So whether it was applying different, like using a different blade, silver sword versus steel sword, or like applying different oils to your blade, or drinking different potions or whatever, the game was supposed to be difficult, but if you approach it with the right strategy, you were good to go. I feel like they tried to push that into this game, but I found it annoying how for some of the skill trees, they were like, oh, you get a plus this stat if you're standing behind cover. And it's like, good intentions because you're supposed to be standing behind cover, but I don't want them to turn this game into like a, cover-based shooter. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the worst way to make this combat the most boring, right? In my opinion.
I think that is my current biggest gripe with the game. I think the fact that they try to cater to so many different playstyles actually made their game design way too restricted. And let me give a concrete example here. here are some like archetypes of builds you can do. Full strength, right? You just like rip doors open, rip people
melee,
apart, right?
Yeah, melee weapons,
There's
just go ham.
hacking. You hack everything, you make people commit suicide. Honestly, I can't believe that's a skill that you can get in that game. You can go stealth. You can like, lock pick doors or whatever. Or there's all these like combinations in between. And I think because they had to cater to all these game styles, the level design and the gameplay options are actually very cookie cutter. In the tweet thread that I posted, what I noted was every level, every like combat instance is a box, basically. And every side just lets you in depending on which option you went. Like there's a brute forceable door on one edge. There's a hackable door on the other. There's like a box you can parkour up to sneak in. And once you get inside, it's kind of the same thing. And I think that is my biggest gripe with the game because it just kind of feels repetitive and boring.
I mean, from a high level perspective, I definitely agree with that. But when it comes to implementation, the reason why I feel that I personally don't get as bored is because, talking about side gigs as an example, right? Every single one is unique, right? Yep. Every single zone is handcrafted, right? There's no reused thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will agree that it feels cookie cutter in that, they have to cater to every playstyle, which I think they should.
Yep.
Right? Because they did say early on, you can go through this whole game without killing a single person, which you can. But I think they mitigate it and make it feel less repetitive in that it's not like Skyrim where it's, there's 100 places on the map, but 50% of them are caves with bandits inside of them, right? It's like, there's bad guys in everyone, but every mission is, either like rescue a person or upload a hack or whatever. Yep. But at least every zone is like very unique in my opinion.
Yeah, the zone, I think 2 points I agree with you are that even makes sense. The 2 points I agree with are the side missions. Yes, they're very unique. I think those are the highlights of the game. And I think where a lot of my frustration comes from is from the main quest. I feel like the main quest actually gets kind of dry. I've been doing your strategy of doing a bunch of side gigs, going to the main quest, doing a bunch of side gigs, going to the main quest. And I've started to like actually dread doing the main quest because I know it'll kind of be the same thing. Yeah,
I haven't finished the game yet. I'm almost there at this point, but it's interesting with the multiple sort of, branching paths of the main story or like options, right? You can kind of choose which route of the main story you want to pursue. It's like you get more attached to some than others, where you at some points are forced to progress other storylines in order to progress, just to make you essentially, the game's trying to, progress all the narrative branches at like an equal rate.
Yep.
In that I don't like that approach as much because I think you touched on it in yours, Tristan, where if they had a single narrative path that branched and split and then came back, as opposed to 3 simultaneous things happening.
Yep.
It just makes it feel like when you have to play the one, if you're not as interested in one, that the game's forcing you to play it.
Yep.
Which I guess you could say would be even worse is if there's a main story and you hated the main story, then like you're just gonna hate yourself the whole time. But I think that's indicative of bigger problems with your game if no one likes the main story.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I think the story is really good. I like the world. I like the story. Everything about it is fantastic. I'm just focused solely on the gameplay aspect of the main story.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's what you meant. That makes more sense then. We can get into, so let's get any more, let's transition to this into more like general gameplay design decisions. If there's, we talked about the combat. What do we think about like the hacking and things like that and the stealth?
Yeah, let's go into that. Like, 'cause you mentioned that you felt like almost the broad range of skills and stuff they had almost made it restricted in a way. So in terms of like, Fallout, I've always felt, especially Fallout 4, all builds really felt the same. Does Cyberpunk, as you level up, allow you diverse builds? Do you think it'll be replayable in terms of creating a different character that does a situation very differently in terms of what you end up skilling into?
So I'm gonna go into the one game that I think a lot of people will draw parallels to, and that's the Deus Ex series. So in that, Alex, you can chime in on this because you've played them. I feel like in Deus Ex, there's one or two ways you go, right? You either go full stealth or full combat.
Just guns blazing, yeah.
Yeah. Just looking, I haven't played, maybe a subsequent playthrough I'll do this. I haven't played a completely, stealth-related build. And I'm sure you could do it, but I feel like they either go, or with melee, if you go for a more fighty style character, there's a lot of ways you can go, right? You can go, I want to go melee, and then a bunch of hacking, or I want to go, and when melee, there's even two types of melee, right? There's, I want to go punch people melee, because there's a whole there's a whole skill tree for brawling, right? And then there's a whole separate skills tree for melee weapons themselves. So you can either go, I want to go brawling, and I want to go hacking, or I want to go punching and melee, or I want to go guns and hacking, or, a little bit of guns and a little bit of melee. There's all this, permutation, combination stuff going on there. I feel like the stealth one is the only pathway you can go, just looking at a skill tree level of you can't just build into that one thing. There's not enough, built in to help you go full stealth.
Yeah, I could give some insight there because I'm going full stealth with my playthrough. I totally agree with Albert. Stealth is kind of weird in that game. As with stealth in any game, it's not very good. If you kill someone, even if they detect you for half a second, I think everybody else gets alerted, and the body hiding mechanics, all that's a little finicky. So
it's so clunky. Oh man, it's so clunky.
Once your cover is blown, all your bonuses go out the window, right? You're losing your stealth bonus. You're not going to use a pistol in a huge gunfight. So what I tend to do is I have a revolver that I use in stealth mode, which does 6,000 headshot damage. But then the instant I'm seen, I just pull out my shotgun and go to town. And I think that's because literally for stealth builds, everything relies on you being in quote unquote stealth mode. And it's really easy to get broken out of that.
Yeah, I feel the biggest problem that I had, and I don't know if it's balanced properly, is you don't have a strong enough pistol in the early game that you can attach a silencer to and still be able to one-shot people.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You need to be able to headshot. You need a gun that can headshot one kill, and then after that, you need to make sure you don't miss any shots.
Exactly. So I want to go back to the Deus Ex comparison. Deus Ex, I played Mankind Divided, and I did a full stealth. I didn't kill a single person the whole game. Right, I did one of those playthroughs. Right, and very early on in the game, Deus Ex is here's a stun gun, so if you're melee range to someone, you can instantly knock them down. Versus Cyberpunk is, you gotta awkwardly go up to them and spam the F key, because sometimes it doesn't show up when you're behind them to grab them. And then you have to wait a second to get in the animation, and then you have to press either F or R to non-lethal takedown or lethal takedown. And so it takes 3 seconds to knock someone out, which with the cameras and stuff in that game, which you can easily hack and turn off, but just with all the NPCs and all the guards in that game, it's so long to take someone down in a non-lethal way that it's honestly, it's this weird balance where stealth feels rewarding to do, but it almost feels like when you're playing stealth in Cyberpunk, it's not a can I do this? Or going through a whole mission, trying to do it all stealth. It's more of always a question of when am I going to get caught?
Yep.
And being ready for that scenario, which is not what you want to feel like when you're in a stealth game. They just don't give you enough tools to make it not feel overly challenging. I guess, let me back that up. I can word this so much better. Essentially, it hit a point where it feels so much easier to fight through an encounter that it's no longer fun or enjoyable to do it stealth. That's like the short of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think how my TLDR is, I use stealth to get rid of as many annoying things possible, and then I approach the combat in the normal loud way afterwards. Like, it's not my primary means, it's kind of like the pre-processing step of who can I get rid of first to make this a little bit easier once everything goes to shit.
And I just realized, like, thinking back at Deus Ex a little bit, maybe Deus Ex had almost bad game design in the opposite way. Where Deus Ex on the hardest difficulty, if you had to get in a firefight, it was very difficult. Like, you would die, like, instantly. So, they had so much stuff in that game to help stealth that it felt rewarding to do the stealth, because going through the front door guns blazing was, most of the time a lot more difficult than stealthing through it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like two opposite ends of the spectrum, where Cyberpunk's like, it's more of a hassle to stealth to, where, you can finish a side gig and run through the front door guns blazing in a minute and a half and kill all the enemies, or it takes you 10 minutes to do it stealth. And, that's potentially with, I don't know how you do it, Tristan, but for me, when I'm doing stealth, I save scum so much. Like, I get past a certain part and I save the game. And then if I get detected, I reload the save back to, like, little checkpoints, right?
Yep.
I don't know. That's kind of my gripe with it.
I think one last thing is, you cannot approach a boss battle with stealth. Like, there's a couple of boss battles, and, like, at least I didn't find any options where I can do it stealthy.
Yeah, I don't recall if they said you could do boss battles. Do you remember, Alex, at all, in any of the news? Or if we covered it all? I think we might have covered it.
In terms of what?
Like, being able to talk your way out of boss fights. Because Deus Ex, you could talk your way out of the boss fights, right? Which is weird to say. In Mankind Divided, you could. All three of them, you could talk your way out.
In the first one, you couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do agree with you, Tristan. I couldn't, at least for the first two I fought, like, there's no real way to fight through it. Or, to talk through it. So, kind of weird, because if you build your character toward that, you're kind of hampering yourself. I'm gonna say kind of, because we talked about the combinations and permutations of different, like, styles you can go with.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like if you're gonna go stealthy, the second path you probably need to go is, like, hacky, right? To help, like, turn off cameras and do a bunch of, like, make people, like, refresh their optics so they can't see anymore and you can sneak by and things like that.
I kind of disagree. I feel like it has to be stealthy plus something loud, because I'm even thinking about side jobs or side quests of, the what do you call it? The quest chain where you have to do brawls.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot
I haven't done that one yet. I hear it's I cheesed that one really badly. At least the first fight.
Okay.
Against the twins.
Yeah, I like, could not do it. And I was like, I guess I'll come back to it later once I leveled up some brawler skills.
Okay. Anything more around mechanics or gameplay design in general?
Two quick things. I still think the UI is awful, and I hate the key mappings.
Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me. I will go. Okay, it's time. Not hot take yet.
Uh-huh.
This is a mild take. You could tell that someone who worked in basic user experience is not a normal human being if they did, because there are so many things weird with the button layouts in this game that it infuriates me.
Yep.
There are so many keys on a keyboard, yet they, like, you're trying to holster a gun, and you're just, like, cycling through your guns. Cycle. You have to, like, double tap Alt on PC, and, like, you have to press that button so fast. Otherwise, Alt also cycles to your next weapon if you single tap it. But, like, oh my goodness. Like, just put, like, control. You're not using control. Why not just bind control to holster your weapon? And then, like, you walk up to a terminal, and for some reason, like, you couldn't just have 3 separate buttons. It's like, tap F to do this, but hold F to do this, and then press C to do this. And it's like, why couldn't you just bind 3 different buttons? Like, what's wrong with that?
I think my biggest pet peeves are around consistency. To go into the map, you press M. One would assume to leave the map, you press M again. But if you press M inside the map, it does this like weird tilt shift thing.
Yeah, it's like when you're in Google Maps and like you do like the 3D world thing.
It's like, what the hell? And then my other thing around consistency is how to exit screens. Sometimes it's escape, sometimes it's C, sometimes it's F, sometimes it's X. It's so annoying.
And it's like, oh, the worst one. The worst offender right here. The crouch button is C, which... chef's kiss. Beautiful button mapping right there. C for crouch gang rise up. But they bound it to the same button as skip dialogue. So if you're crouching and you enter a long dialogue sequence, you can't uncrouch. It just skips the dialogue. And it's like, why didn't you make like, you know how F is to select dialogue?
Yep.
Like, why couldn't you just bind it to the same button? Or like E or Q, like the dialogue selection buttons. Those buttons are literally not used for, I guess E is used for, is he used for anything else?
I have no idea. Maybe they just made it bad to force people to rebind their keys. I don't know.
I mean, I can see why they didn't put it at the same button like F now that I think about it, because F is to select a dialogue option. So if you bind it to the same button, right, like, and you're skipping through dialogue and there's like a decision choice that comes up and you're just spamming F, you might accidentally select a dialogue option. But why not set it to like E or something? Like, I don't know. For PC players, did you really need Q and E to like flip through your dialogue options, Tristan? Have you ever used that? I just use the scroll wheel or just click on it with my mouse like a normal human being.
I use scroll wheel.
Yeah. So like there's so many like weird, just, you have so many buttons on a keyboard. Like, why don't you just switch the buttons up a little bit?
Shrug.
Still, the alt thing is definitely the worst offender. The other weird thing about the buttons, just going back to the map thing, is I don't know if I'm just bad at using a keyboard with like when I press M, I use my right hand, right? I don't move my left hand off, or sometimes I guess I do both. But sometimes I accidentally tap N.
Yep.
And at first I didn't know like what was happening, like my game was freezing up, and then I realized, oh, it's loading the screenshot, like, photo mode. And it's like, why would you put that button right next to the map button? Because every time I mistap M, like, now I'm in freaking photo mode. Just me being, that's just me being bad at using a keyboard, I don't know, but...
Maybe it's better on console with the controller.
Like, you've got so many buttons, man. You've got like G and H and T and Y, like all those buttons just sitting out there. I don't know, man. Just weird, like minor user experience things in this game that are like, why would you do that? All right. We're going to move.
Do you want to talk about World? So I feel like Alex may have some thoughts, so.
Yeah, let's talk about World, and we'll let Alex jump in here. If he wants. I'm not going to force you, Alex.
Sure. Yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit just because, you know, that's the part I've seen a lot of, just watching some streams of it. I actually enjoy a lot of the parts of the city in terms of, like, the textures they used and the lighting in a lot of places. Like, it looks so realistic to actual cities I've been in before. Like, I don't know. Other games just haven't done that to me. Like, Spider-Man and stuff, I just didn't feel the same way. But when I saw it in Cyberpunk, it's like, wow, this could actually be a real-life place I'd been in before. I don't know if you guys felt the same when you're walking around doing things, but...
The best way I saw this comment, and it resonated with me so hard. It was, and this is obviously a praise for the world design. I felt like CD Projekt Red spent 5 years building this world, and a year building the game mechanics to actually populate the game.
Yeah, because it seems significantly more intricate than I ever thought they were actually going to do for city building design.
If you play the game for extended periods of time, I mean, Tristan and I already talked about how like every single one of those like side gigs is like a complete like handcrafted location. Mm-hmm. Like this little random bar that you'll enter just for a side gig has like custom made like neon light signs and custom made interiors and everything custom made just for like something you'll spend like 10 minutes on.
Mm-hmm.
but it just adds so much to the immersion.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of different districts and stuff that they've partitioned the city in. I don't know. It's just got so many distinct looks, and yeah, I haven't really noticed something that looks too samey when I'm just watching a stream so far. Maybe I'll feel different once I actually get in and play it myself, but we'll see when I get there. But yeah, so
No, like just to comment on that, like, and I'll let you. I'm just gonna do a quick.
Yeah, I was trying to remember where I was going.
Like every district has definitely its own feel, and you definitely don't feel too samey. I mean, when you're outside of the city, if you've seen Alex, right, like in the
the deserts,
the desert area, like okay, it's like a desert for the most part, but you know, it has its own feel to it, right, as opposed to when you're in the city.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. With some of the most realistic, photorealistic sagebrush I've ever seen. I feel like I'm actually just outside. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So, I guess in terms of, well, I don't know. We've never been big on the pen and paper, so I don't know if it feels cyberpunk in terms of, you know, how they represent Night City here. But do you vibe with the setting overall? Does it, you know, do you feel like you're actually in the world of cyberpunk when you're just exploring around doing gigs and things?
I'll let Tristan go.
Maybe just to respond to some of the stuff said already. I don't know if it's because I'm playing on like low medium. I'm not getting that vibe of like this feels like a real city. I don't know. I think I said it before in our chat, but it's like everything still kind of looks a little blurry. Maybe it's my eyes. I don't know what's going on. But it definitely looks better than other games. I'll give it that. In terms of the world, maybe my expectations were a little too high, but I was a little let down by the lack of full interactivity, I guess. Like, I was overhyped about NPC interaction and kind of other types of interactions. Like, I do appreciate how every single vending machine you can do something with it, and you can, like, order food. But I was kind of looking for something to the next level of just like talking to random people and like having a dialogue. Maybe that's just impossible with the technology.
Yeah, I think that'd probably be impossible standard to reach.
Yeah, but
yeah, they try to do stuff with like, you know, the like having population density, right? Just like a lot of characters on the screen, and when you're walking down a street, you know, it's very hard to find a randomly generated NPC who looks the same as someone else. So that, you know, definitely adds to the immersion factor of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty true. Like, I'm thinking, again, like, you know, going back to Skyrim, even though it's an older game, you know, a city, even though it's a city, really doesn't have that many NPCs ever wandering around. It's usually maybe like 15 at most before the Gamebryo engine starts crying and your FPS just starts dropping dramatically. So yeah, I think CD Projekt Red, they went for more of a just density quality rather than, you know, every NPC has something to actually say to you or any kind of rumor or anything they could tell you.
And who knows, maybe they played around with it, right? And they were like, hey, you know,
how often is somebody actually going to just talk to random NPCs?
Yeah, it's like, how much is it worth putting our time so Tristan can talk to this person for like 20 minutes at the start of the game and gush about it, but then never ever talk to them again, right?
Maybe I just miss talking to people. The one specific thing is like when I go up to like a bartender and I want to have a full-on dialogue. Maybe it's a personal problem rather than a game problem.
I think that's a good point, though. Does Cyberpunk really offer many opportunities for, I guess, what I would call the RP experience? You know, like talking to a bartender or, you know, like, does it have activities like that or just more purely for your own entertainment rather than, you know, like a pure reward-based gameplay in terms of like a gig or whatever?
Yeah, it doesn't really have much of that I've found.
Yeah, so not really like a city life aspect, I guess I would call it.
It would have been cool if there were more like a casino, right, that you could go to or something, right? Where you could just play casino games, right? Like in Witcher, there's like Gwent, which is, you know, not the exact same thing, but it's like something that you can interact with every various characters throughout the game just to have a little dialogue and get to like know a little side character, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that would do the setting a lot of justice, actually, if they just added in just little side content things that are just purely for your own entertainment rather than really any kind of tangible reward. Just to make you feel more in the world.
I feel that in this game, there's like there's only a couple characters that you really get to know, right? There's obviously the main story characters, and then there's like the fixers of each zone, which like give you the side gigs jobs because you're constantly like, all right, here's the mission brief down, blah, blah, blah. They, talk for a little bit.
And the car dealers.
Yeah, by the way, do you want to buy this used car?
They're actually not fixers, right? So they're actually just car dealers.
Yeah. That's their primary job.
You go to a new zone, you'll see like 6 messages on your phone, and you'll check, and it's from a new fixer, and they're like 6 texts in a row that's, I have this new car, you want to buy it?
I look forward to working with you. Oh, by the way, would you like to buy my panel van?
That's literally what it is. So yeah.
I have one more comment about what Alex was talking about, and maybe I'm jumping the gun here. I think the reason I keep equating this game to like Crackdown or Infamous or Saints Row is it's missing that core RPG piece where I can't just jump in and do random stuff. Like the only choices I have are to do missions. It's very mission oriented rather than like, let's go do, like, the casino example is good. Like, let's just go hang out at the casino, right? It
I'm trying to think
like
things that, in my opinion, like Rockstar does a great job of in their games.
And another example would be the Yakuza games. They have plenty of distractions that you can take your mind off of, and it really is just maybe has some side story content tied to it, but it's mostly just for your own enjoyment and to build the world.
Yeah.
And now that we dig into it, I feel like we get into the heart of the problem in that this game was under time crunch, right? Like you can definitely feel with some of the lacks of these, something that would have, that brings a good game up to a great game are things like this. Mm-hmm. And that this is what it's lacking. Especially for an RPG. Go ahead.
I don't know if this is your hot take. But honestly, I think this game misses the bar. Like
in terms of entirely?
In terms of what it wanted to be, I think it completely misses the bar. Or maybe my understanding of what it wanted to be was wrong. Like in my tweet storm, I think what I said was I feel like this game tried to be Breath of the Wild, right? Take the best components of open world games and basically push the envelope in that direction by doing it really well. I think Cyberpunk kind of got there, but really didn't push anything too far. Maybe outside of the world building, but in terms of like the strict gameplay, it's nothing too exceptional.
Yeah, and I don't want to, it's hard to say, and I don't want to put words in. It's a tricky situation with Cyberpunk because I feel like that might have been the goal that the developers had. Mm-hmm. But, due to the business constraints and trying to push this game out, right, maybe they didn't have time to realize that goal. It also never was explicitly stated, right, that, they never went out and promised these things, right? So I don't want to say like it fell flat from what they envisioned because we don't really truly know what they envisioned. We know, I guess, just based on their track record that that's typically what they do. So that's kind of what a lot of people assume. And especially with how much time they had in the oven, how long this thing was in the oven, right? That's why hype was and expectations were so high for this game. But
yeah, it feels like a project where they had a lot of ambition behind it. And maybe they just, like you said, they didn't have the time to take all these systems and build them as far as they wanted to build them. It's I guess when I look at the game, I feel like it's a lot of systems that have been built to a certain base, but it doesn't feel like a lot of them have been completed. And I would use like stealth gameplay as an example, where they kind of got it started, but it really doesn't seem like it's actually final at all in terms of the actual product out right now. I think stealth will probably be reworked quite a bit as they roll out updates for it.
Yeah.
And I feel that's going to be the case for a lot of systems in Cyberpunk going forward, which is pretty standard for CDPR. They usually do sequentially just rework a lot of parts of the game as they keep going.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about an interesting category, and that goes into sort of, I don't know if narrative is the right word to put it, but more just like character design. I felt that, dude, how do I word this? I'm more focused. So let me bring it back. So let's go to a past CD Projekt Red title. Let's go to Witcher 3, right? I felt that since Geralt was from a novel and, you know, you were playing as a character, that CD Projekt Red did a great job tailoring the game of like, our main character is this guy. He's going through the story as this guy. We can write and tailor all the missions based on the fact that you are Geralt of Rivia. I felt that they struggled with this game because, you know, in a good way or in a bad way, however you want to word it, you know, you can customize your own character however you want. And, you know, your name is always going to be V, but I didn't connect with V as much as I did with a character like Geralt. And I honestly don't really care for V as a character that much, even though I am that character. And as a consequence, or not as a consequence, but like some stuff feeding into that is I thought the voice performances for at least the male character of V was pretty flat. And here's my hot take. I felt that Keanu's role as Johnny Silverhand is pretty hit or miss at times.
I think it's typical Keanu. Like, if you love Keanu, you'll love this because it's basically the same tone and delivery and characterization there.
Yeah, which I don't know if that fits 100%.
Actually, I think Alex had some thoughts around this. We were talking about it, like, contrasting with Norman Reedus, right?
Oh, yeah. I was talking about, in a lot of parts, I actually felt that Keanu as Johnny felt like much more part of the world than what I felt when I saw Norman Reedus inside Death Stranding. Like, Death Stranding just felt like, oh, here is Norman Reedus, and he's just in this world doing something. But I don't know, when I see Keanu in this game, it actually feels like he's believably in the setting.
Well, I want to jump in real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it this way. So when I said V is kind of a flat character, right? He doesn't really show emotions a lot. And, you know, part of that's based on some of the dialogue options you choose. But even in terms of like the voice acting itself, he's relatively, you know, he never gets super down low or super up high there in terms of emotional range. I felt like having your, I guess, minor spoiler alert here is like, you know, Johnny's like a part of your character, right? Johnny Silverhand or Keanu. I felt like having him also be a very, you know, he gets a little emotional sometimes, but he's also relatively a very flat character. Just pairing two of those together, like, does not work. I felt like in The Witcher, you had someone like Geralt who was kind of like Johnny and kind of like, you know, your V, who's a very level-headed, you know, not super emotional character, but he's paired with side characters that have a wide range of emotions.
Yep. That
it works well. But when you kind of just make the second character that you primarily interact with also that way, there's no like dynamic there.
I kind of disagree with some of that. I think the part I agree with is V as a character. Like, he's supposed to be the blank slate because you're him, right? Like, you're supposed to be V instead of maybe in Witcher 3, you're like playing as Geralt. I feel like Johnny Silverhand is supposed to be like your foil. I can't really go deeper into this without spoiling the story, but like, oh god, you tell me if this is too spoilery, I can cut it out. Basically, like, as you progress through the game, you become more like Silverhand, right? And I think that's where the story tension's supposed to come from. Depending on how you're trying to play V as, it's like the struggle of like, oh god, do I become more like Silverhand or not? And I think that's what they were trying to get to by having that pair up, rather than having a single like playable character that is more fleshed out. I don't know if that even made sense.
That made a little sense, and it's weird because, you know, it's a minor spoiler, right? Like, you've played, like, if you've gotten to the title screen and completed Act 1, you'll already be on this part. But it's like, you know, when they first introduced Johnny as a character, right?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be, like, polar opposite with you.
Yeah.
And literally 15 minutes after, your character literally says the dialogue, "I thought you hated what I wanted." And then he's like, I've rethought it. And it's like, we didn't even talk. And like 15 minutes, did you notice that?
I noticed that.
He's just like, sure, we can be on the same page now.
Yeah, take your
like,
pills.
What? Yeah, and it's like, what? So
take me out to dinner first, jeez.
Maybe it's a little column A, column B, right? Like, I was pinning it all on the characters. Maybe it's a little just bit on the writing. And like, you know, it's not really the delivery or anything, but it's just like how the characters were written.
To be fair, I feel like some of the other characters that you interact with, saying names aren't spoilers, like Judy or Pan Am or, you know, Jackie even, I feel like those are really well fleshed out characters.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, they have pretty clear motivations, yeah.
This is where we're at. That was my hot take, by the way. It was
Keanu's not good, I understand.
He's not bad, he's not, I don't know if...
I think that's his peak Keanu right there. Like, he's
Keanu, but
he's
question...
He's alright, but he's also not very good at the same time.
Let me put it this way.
I guess it's hard to explain.
Let me put it this way. Maybe Keanu wasn't the right character choice to put in, right? Keanu is Keanu, which is fine, but the question is, like, you know, when your house is on fire, you don't call the plumber, right? Like, you get someone else.
I don't know, because I was thinking about if they put some wacky over the top, like if they put like a Handsome Jack equivalent in this game as your foil, like, would that work?
Yeah,
it depends, and maybe because we haven't finished, I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe that would have been a horrible decision, but I need to play through the rest, I guess, to give a thorough thing. I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like Keanu just randomly pops up in side quests and says some edgy thing and then just goes away, and it's like, did we really need to pay Keanu for that?
Well,
have you noticed that? Like, he just shows up, says an edgy line, and then goes away.
Isn't Johnny kind of like a legendary cyberpunk hero or something? I don't know, anti-hero.
Kind of, yeah.
So maybe in lore he's supposed to be that way. So maybe Keanu is the perfect fit, and being wacky isn't Johnny's thing. I have to admit, I don't know cyberpunk lore at all, so... I
just want to rephrase, right? I'm not saying, like, Johnny's a bad character, or, like, Keanu does a horrible job, like, enacting that character. My question is, like, was that type of character the right character to put in for Johnny? And I don't know. Who knows? It wasn't my cup of tea, let me put it that way.
We gotta sync up on where you are after the recording, Albert. I want to know where in the story you are.
I'm probably like halfway through.
What's your percentage on the second and third pictures at the top? Do you remember?
I think I'm at like 40, 30, 30 or something like that.
Okay,
40,
I think we're roughly at the 25. Same spot then.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go on to the last topic here, and you know, we're almost like 50 minutes into this, and so
welcome to Cyberpunk, the episode.
Well, yeah, this is the Cyberpunk, and you know, I normally don't like to give games like special 1 hour blobs on this, but you know, everyone's talking about Cyberpunk. It's the game everyone's talking about for years and years and years. So I felt like and I felt like our listeners might also be playing it. So, you know, synthesize some of our thoughts and talk about it.
"Quote unquote" synthesize into 50 minutes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, we could, I mean, honestly, if we wanted to go long form, we could talk about this for hours, right?
Oh, same.
Oh, yeah. At this point, I think that would be.
It's weird because we're not even done with the game yet. That's how much stuff.
Oh yeah, it's such a massive project when you think about it.
Yeah. So let's get into the last part, and this is, you know, I say controversial, but it's not really controversial based on how this has affected other games in the past, and that is the bugs. This game is very buggy. To say the least.
I'm gonna bring.
And
go ahead.
I'll let you go first, Tristan. Give me a short, just give me your initial thoughts on how buggy the game is and does it affect your overall opinion on the game?
To answer that last question, yes. I think my experiences anecdotally has started with I didn't hit a single bug for like 4 or 5 hours. And I was like, all these...
Not even graphical?
Not even graphical. And I was like,
wow.
What are these people complaining about? This is totally fine. Like, check your system, folks. And then, I don't know what happened. Maybe karma. It just like clicked and bugs every like 10 minutes.
So what are the... Here, let me comment and then I'll ask... We'll go into like what bugs we've seen. So I will say for the most part, I've only had minor graphical bugs or major graphical bugs. I don't know how you classify a graphical bug, but I've had actually 0 crashes. So the game's never crashed for me. I've played about 50 hours.
Same.
And by the way, both on PC here. So
yep.
Anyone listening, if you're playing on PS4 or Xbox,
I feel sorry for you.
Yep. Our condolences right now.
I feel so bad for you. And honestly, in terms of graphical fidelity wise, those consoles just aren't going to reach like...
No, those things are too outdated at this point to ever run this game well.
Like, I feel like Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red, they're going to clean up the bugs for you and maybe try to get it to run at a stable frame rate, but it ain't going to be pretty. Let me put it that way. Anyways, going back into my impression of the bugs, as I already said, mainly graphical. I've had 1 or 2 soft locks. So there was, at the end of the first act, there's like a door you need to walk through. And like one of the NPCs I had to follow like phased through the door, but I couldn't open the door. And then I like reloaded a quick save right at the end and like the door just disappeared so I could walk through it again, which is kind of funny. Other than that, I've had like, I think I sent a screenshot to you, Tristan. I was doing like a side job and I was trying to find like a body to pick up or something. And like it wasn't in the freezer. And then I like crouched behind the freezer and the body like somehow phased through into the wall.
Yep.
I could still grab it, but just weird things like that. Honestly, I find the bugs more funny than debilitating in that I kind of enjoy playing it in this buggy state before they clean up all the bugs. Because once it's all cleaned up, you're never going to be able to, quote unquote, experience this version of Cyberpunk again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say that too. Some bugs, they're pretty endearing in terms of what they are. Like, you've seen them all throughout gaming if you've ever been gaming for decades at this
T-poses,
point.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, T-poses and everything, yeah. Those are just the funny bugs. You're like, haha, that's cool, and, whatever. And then, obviously, the bad ones are the ones that cause crashes and things.
Yeah.
So we'll want to have those fixed, but, it's always funny just seeing.
Wait, Tristan, what graphics card do you have again?
2070.
So you have the same one as me, but yet I play on Ultra and get like 60 FPS.
Oh, I'm CPU bound. That's why.
Oh, you're CPU bound. Okay.
I think I agree with you guys. Soft locks I've run to a bunch, and I think that is something I'm annoyed with because when I can't progress in a quest, I'm like, am I dumb or is the game just broken at the moment? Like, do I need to reload?
Yeah.
I've run into that multiple times.
And then I need to like Google how to do the quest, and that's annoying. Graphical bugs, I now that I think about it, I agree with you guys. Like, I've run into some weird physics bugs. I think I told Albert about this. Of like, I stepped off a curb and I took full fall damage and I just died. And I was
I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen to Twitch streamers as well.
And I was like, what the hell just happened? I've had instances where I like got into a car and it randomly did like donuts without me touching anything. Like these are hilarious. And I wish I could have recorded them. So I think I agree with you guys in terms of the funny bugs. Versus the soft.
I showed Alex I was able to clip out of the world already after like just 2 hours of playing the game.
That doesn't surprise me that they just leave phasable walls and everything in places they don't think you're supposed to climb to. Yeah.
Yep. One of the saving graces, I guess you could call it, of the game is that it auto saves very, very frequently. Mm-hmm. So if you do get soft locked, there's rarely cases where you lose more than like a minute of progress.
Yep.
Or maybe 2 minutes of progress.
Yeah, and it keeps like 5 auto saves. So
exactly. Yeah.
You have plenty of backup at all times. Yeah.
So maybe that's why we have such a nonchalant even like to the soft locks a nonchalant
because it's usually
toward them.
It's a very small time loss, if anything.
Yep, exactly. The one thing I keep getting, and I have no idea how to fix it, is when I go into the map screen. I don't know if I press I think it might be if I press the map screen and then I press N to go into photo mode, the game just freezes.
What? What is the sequence of events? Like, why do you go into that workflow?
Because I press M to close the map, and I press M, and I press N.
M is not even close map.
My brain doesn't remember that. Neither does your brain. So it's this weird thing where I go to the map, and then none of the buttons do anything. Like, the game, like, the map is moving, right? Like, I can see how, like, it's functioning properly, but none of my hotkeys do anything. So I can't, like, press escape to close the map. I can't press M. I can't click on any waypoints. So I just have to, like, Alt F4. But yeah. So I can see why a lot of reviews would mark it down, right? Due to the amount of bugs and sort of some of the disingenuous, I guess, representations of how the game would run, quote unquote, for all platforms, maybe, even though they never explicitly said that, but how garbage it runs on the older platforms. But honestly, I can look past the bugginess. Any last thoughts before we actually get into Game Awards news for maybe like 30 minutes?
If people read my tweet storm, I was torn on the 7 out of 10. Please don't give me fire for that. It was just a random number that I was throwing out because people are going to ask me.
If I were to give a preliminary review, I would give this probably like a 8 or an 8.5 right now.
I was thinking 7.5, and I just rounded down because that's what I usually do.
I like to think of like a 7 as an average game, and so like I think this game right now is still above average, an average game, right? But it's not, Witcher 3 levels, even just to compare to like a similar CD Projekt Red title. My last thought is, going back to user experience, picking up items in this game is very difficult. Like, you look at an item, and there's a little dot on your screen, right, Tristan, that shows like what you're going to pick up. I feel like it's actually just like a 6-inch wide circle, like a radius of 6 inches, and whichever object is closest in that 6-inch circle on your screen is the first item it's going to pick up.
Yeah, I need to like look away and look back in. I don't know what's going on. Honestly, I can't even find half the items half the time. Like, I don't even know where the items are. I just walk up to the body, mash F, and then walk around again. Yeah. Oh, random other thing. Complaint in which they need to fix. There's items in the game that you can pick up, like junk items that are worth like $750. I got the trait that automatically junks items. Oh, yeah. I explicitly didn't get that because I knew that was going to happen.
I got it, and now I probably lost out on like $100,000 in that game because it auto scraps the 750 items.
Yep.
And it's like, why? Why did no one pick that up? Is that like it's a trade-off, we'll auto scrap the items, but now you have to, you can't pick up the $750 items anymore, and it's like, really? You're going to make me spend $100,000 out of respec to get to not pick that? I don't know.
You should have thought about it.
Other weird just like gameplay decisions. I know I'm rambling at this point, even though I said we're going to move on. But the last one is the frickin' attachment system. Like, why? Why can you, until you get the perk that gives you the item, the mods back after you disassemble the item?
Yep.
Like, why do we have to constantly
deattach, unattach?
Well, you can't. That's the thing, right?
You can.
You can do the scope and the silencer, but not the actual mods, right?
Oh, okay.
Like clothing mods, right?
I see.
Like, you get this really good, like, plus 15% crit rate, and it's like, well, now it's stuck on this really bad piece of gear. And I don't know if that's a purposeful game, maybe that's quote-unquote, it's a feature, right? You have to choose which piece of gear you're gonna use, but, like, as an RPG player, it just feels painful to have to, use a crappy piece of gear or like have to battle with these trade-offs. It doesn't feel good.
Yep.
That's my last. Oh, the other last rant is, how the heck does armor work? Because I play on the second hardest difficulty and I have like 1,000 armor and this random guy like one-shots me and I instantly die. Like, it happens so often. I just get randomly one-shot all the time.
Get more armor.
I have like 1,000 armor.
You need more.
Does that happen? You're playing on normal, right?
Yeah.
Do you just randomly die all the time?
I randomly die all the time because I can't tell how much health I have because there's no visual indicator outside of the bar at the top left, which, I gotta move my head to see because my monitor's too big.
Oh yeah. And Tristan and I already talked about this random thing, and I can't believe we didn't bring it up. The driving and how, it doesn't zoom out of the map when you're driving, so, you can't catch turns in time if you're going faster than, 50, I guess it'd be kilometers per hour on the speedometer, because we're measuring in meters in this game.
Yep.
But, if you're going anything faster than that, you're always going to miss your turn, or either you're going to, mash space bar to, e-brake, and then you're going to, run over 5 people, and every time you run into someone, there always magically happens to be, 5 cops, right next to the corner.
Yep.
That, witnessed your massacre, and you're like, oh my goodness. And then you have to spend 2 minutes losing the cops, and then just zoom out the minimap a little, please. Let's go to Game Awards. That happened. I'm not going to talk too much about, you can go over who won, who lost. Yeah, okay. Game of the Year, spoiler alert, Last of Us Part 2. There you go. That's the one everyone cares about.
I think
right?
Last of Us Part 2 won 7 things this year, right? I think
Something
that was
like
the total count.
Yeah, it won 5 or 6 things. Yeah, I remember, we were like, where's Neil? Where's Neil? Right? And then, of course, he shows up for the, I guess, quote-unquote, more important awards. Or more prestigious, maybe. Not more important. All awards are equally important. Except for best esports host, or whatever those dumb esports categories are.
Dude, I got 5 out of 6 on esports. I told you.
You just voted League of Legends.
Yeah, it's all the League of Legends ones, yeah.
It's the using your heart versus using your brain. I use my brain, or I use my heart. Sorry, I was like, I like Counter-Strike. I'm gonna vote Counter-Strike people. No, I'm gonna vote Shiver because she battled cancer. No, you didn't choose Shiver. Your brain. Well, she didn't win anyways. That's what I'm saying, man.
Personal plug. I did win again this year, so just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, it was a lot closer this year, though, I think, than previous year. I remember I got a super low score last time.
Alex, you could have had one more, man, but you mathematically limited yourself from best.
Yeah, I did a write-in. I played with my heart.
Tristan's a machine. He has no heart.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I just messaged Jeff. That's what I did. I was like, "Hey, buddy, who's gonna win?"
Those Zoom calls. I bet he told you guys.
Oh yeah,
insider trading going on here. Okay, let's get into the announcements. I just have a big list of them. We're going to play our classic, I don't even remember what it's called.
Packin' or Lackin'?
Packin' or Lackin'.
Are we doing that? Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but sure, we'll Packin' or Lackin'. We're going to run through, I didn't watch this because I actually had work, because this thing was at 3 p.m. is when it started, or 3:30 or whatever, PST. But we'll go through the pre-show stuff. Did you guys watch that? If you didn't watch it, we'll skip it.
I think I tuned in at 3:40.
Yeah, I saw the end, the 5 minutes before.
We'll skip it. We'll skip the pre-show. Let's start with the actual show. First off, started off hot. We got a new fighter in Smash. Literally one shot the final boss.
Literally murdered Mario.
Literally, no, not really though. But Sephiroth. Come to Smash this month. I think on Thursday this week, there will be the Sakurai Presents thing. So he'll get to... Is he going to name all the Final Fantasy games this time? Just like he did the Fire Emblem?
Yeah, it's like a 3-hour episode.
Just him naming Final Fantasy games. He doesn't even talk about Sephiroth. And then we had... play, pause, stop. Packin', Lackin', whatever we're doing.
Yeah. Hot take, Lackin'.
Lackin'?
No, I'm absolutely lacking too.
I'm packing. What's wrong with you guys? What did you want?
I guess he's just a lame choice to me. I don't know. We had Cloud already. I understand. So, Sephiroth, he's the antagonist foil to Cloud. But, I don't know. I feel like there would be cooler Final Fantasy characters if they wanted to include another Final Fantasy character.
I do agree with that, but I feel like he won because of name recognition, which I think is what Smash typically goes for.
Yeah.
Why I'm lacking? We literally just had Minecraft Steve show up. This doesn't feel as mind-blowing. I don't know. Maybe it's a bias, a personal bias.
I think partly also, in the trailer, the moveset he was using just didn't really stand out to me. It didn't really look like stuff he ever did in the old games, so I I don't know. It just it feels like it's Sephiroth in terms of a skin, but I don't know.
I've heard
just kind of a random sword man.
I've heard a couple of his moves are not unique per se, as in you were saying like you didn't recognize them, but I've heard that some of the moves were taken from Dissidia.
Okay.
They are, I guess, quote unquote, existing moves, but maybe not, Final Fantasy VII strictly moves.
Yeah. Or like Advent Children or stuff.
Okay. Yep. All right, let's keep moving. We got a lot of stuff to roll through.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect Dark.
Packing.
I'm packing. Yeah, they didn't show any gameplay or anything, but Perfect Dark being back, that's exciting. I hope it's a good, I guess it's reboot. I assume they aren't going to even acknowledge the first 2 games, so.
Was the second one the bad one? Was it 0? Was that the one everyone was like, was really bad? Okay.
Yeah. That was like right after Microsoft bought Rare, I think.
Oh boy. Blood. Back for blood. Back for blood.
Oh, that's a packet for me.
I'm double packing.
Yeah, like
packet. You dual fisting.
I think we couldn't have it any other way because I feel, apart from America's Army, where we ended up meeting, I would say Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 are like the games where we really got to know each other in terms of playing it a lot during growing up. Like, those games were just so much in our life. I don't know. I could not be more excited for that game. In terms of just a co-op experience we've not had in a while.
I'm packing for you guys. I've never been a big zombie survival guy.
Not even Tristan mod? Impossible Tristan mod?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a secret. I've never played that mod.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that was all. Yeah. Never mind.
The only zombie game I played for more than like 5 hours was the original Killing Floor. I played that for about like 6 hours.
Man.
Anyways, I'm packing for all the Left 4 Dead guys out there that are wanting this. But go ahead, Tristan.
I signed up with like 5 email addresses.
Oh my god.
To see if I can get into alpha.
They're listening to this. I don't know if they're going to be like, this guy's a super fan, let's get him in, or either this guy's cheating the system.
Maybe, I don't know.
Reach out to us. Give us keys. We'll talk about it. So yeah, I love Left 4 Dead, so that'd be a good time.
If they announce mod support or like Steam Workshop support, oh man.
I'm going to have to suit up again.
Mm-hmm. We need a new mod.
Alrighty. Going into some smaller ones, but we'll bring them up. Scavengers closed beta.
Is that the Battle Royale?
What game is that?
I do not know. I do not have pictures
let's
this announcement. Skip. Hood Outlaws and Legends release date.
Oh, Robin Hood, Left 4 Dead?
No, that was the 4-player medieval.
Oh! It's like stealthy.
Yeah, like the Payday or whatever. We were talking about like medieval Payday or whatever, I think, is what we were joking about. I need to see more.
Indifferent.
Yeah, I'd say, I need to see more. I feel like it may be a little samey in terms of gameplay. I feel like it may get tired, but need to see more.
All right, Forza Horizon 4 and Cyberpunk 2070 crossover.
The Cybertruck.
We joked about this.
Oh, man.
We joked about this.
This is packing and frickin' Sephiroth is lacking. Oh my god.
I've played Forza Horizon 4. I want the Cyberpunk car, and I want to use it in Battle Royale mode.
Oh my god. I'm moving on. I don't know what we're talking about.
What a weird combination of words, but okay.
We had the Callisto Protocol.
The name rings a bell. I forget what the gameplay was.
It was like the Dead Space-ish horror game.
Oh, lacking. I feel like Resident Evil is my top tier right now.
Like a developer diary as part of the presentation, and he's like, we wanted to make the scariest horror game. That just instantly is a turnoff for me.
Yeah,
like, when you're trying to be the most whatever, like, I don't know. It just never feels like you're gonna actually make a good game, but I guess I gotta give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'll at least give their product a chance to see what it looks like when they're more complete on it. Because it looked like it was fairly early in development.
Yep. All right. Warhammer 40,000 Darktide gameplay.
This is the second one I'm excited for. It's kind of the Back for Blood. I think we're finally getting games where we can play co-op together. And yeah, I don't know how you guys felt, but it was like Vermintide, except with a bigger gun focus, which I think we were all expecting.
Can we play a big squad of 4 Ogrins and just...
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if there's class limitations like there were in Vermintide.
I think there will be.
I imagine there is going to be, but I'd almost wish there wasn't. Just so you could do Ogrins only or something stupid like that. But yeah, I think it looked great in terms of what they were showing us. It's exactly on par with what I was thinking they would do.
We have Open Roads.
Country Roads?
This was like, yeah, kind of. So this was like the narrative based. It's by the people who made Gone Home, right? With like the mom and the daughter in the car going on the road trip.
Ah.
Yeah.
I still have a question mark face. So I'll be lacking.
I'll say, yeah, like not my cup of tea, but you know, that's just me with these types of games.
It's a game.
It's a game. Disco Elysium Final Cut.
Let's go. I mean, it's just a full version, right?
Yeah.
Good game. If you want to play an actual RPG and you don't care about first-person shooting, I'm putting Cyberpunk on blast. Play Disco Elysium.
I heard, I think they said it during the TGAs, but Disco Elysium won, I think, the most awards last year, right? At TGA.
It's a good game.
There you go. Dragon Age. Little, teaser. I don't know how you want to put it. Showed some cool shots. That's about it.
I've never played
I'm a meh.
Dragon Age.
I'm a meh.
Yeah, I don't... Can anybody see the BioWare logo and still feel excited?
It's gonna take a little bit to earn that trust back, right?
They've definitely dug a hole at this point. Yeah. I think they got a recovery that they really need to do. And maybe this is the product that will do it, but yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah. Endless Dungeon.
Oh, I am so hyped for that for some reason.
4-player co-op.
I don't know why. It looks really fun.
We said it during TJ's, but it's like a 4-player co-op, like Risk of Rain vibes.
Yeah.
I think I guess Risk of Rain 2 is 4-player co-op, but
it looked, didn't it look like Alien Swarm? I think that's what I was saying.
It kind of did. Yeah.
That it was pretty similar to that. Yeah.
Pretty hype. All right. Oh, this one's going to be funny, this next one. Crimson Desert gameplay trailer. So this is
Desert,
the Black Desert.
This is Black Desert,
but the single player one.
There were frame dips in this trailer in the single digits, I feel.
It was cinematic effects.
It looks like more of just the Black Desert Online action gameplay, except in a single player environment. I don't know. I've played Black Desert Online. I just don't really get into that system at all.
This trailer, by the way, I will reiterate, was 5.5 minutes long.
Oh yeah, this thing felt like an eternity, and it was just a lot of a guy throwing dudes around.
Yeah, a lot of like running and like brawling with people. I don't know. Overcooked Swedish Chef DLC.
Fantastic, thank you, Jeff.
As Tristan said, the Game Awards is a place that Mr. Keeley can let out his secret desires of
wildest dreams of
dreams of being some
related interests. Let's just leave it at that.
My favorite thing is whenever he does something like people are like, why the heck is he here? Keeley's always like, maybe we should do that again next year, huh?
And they're always back. And it's always the back. Muppets.
Oh my goodness.
It's
we got.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's a fun like couch co-op game. So,
yeah, Overcooked's great. Yeah, so if you like Swedish Chef, go get him.
Swedish Chef in Bugsnax. When's that coming around, huh?
Just you wait. Next year, Bugsnax is gonna clean sweep 30 out of 30 categories.
It's gonna win basically every category.
Best esports game.
Yeah, move out of the way, Cyberpunk. You got no chance.
Can't. You got nothing on my bunger.
All right, we're like halfway through these. All right, what do we got? Warframe and Unreal Tournament crossover.
Lacking.
Yeah, it just makes me miss Unreal Tournament.
That's true. Well, Man, now you put a real downer on the rest of this. Now I miss Unreal Tournament. Dude, Unreal Tournament 2004.
Oh man, that was my early childhood right there. Was just blasting people with the flat gun and link gun in Unreal Tournament. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they're gonna reboot that sometime. Anyways, COD Black Ops Cold War Season 1.
Let's go.
Battle Pass.
Where are we dropping?
Next one, we had was it an announcement? I think it was an announcement for Season, which was the PS5 exclusive game. I think it's made by the people who made Journey.
Oh. That one studio? I forget what I think that's the name of their studio, right?
Yeah, that one studio.
It's that game company.
That game company.
Mm-hmm. It's close enough.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I actually didn't know this. Remember that Darwin Project game that we saw a couple years ago? I think it was at the Ubisoft press conference where there was like the guy live shoutcasting a match.
Yep.
That was also made by this company.
Wait, what? Okay, no. That game, I think we got it confused. That game company, I don't see it on their game list.
Oh, wait. Oh, Destiny? Or Journey?
Yeah, Journey did not make any of those games.
Wait, but I see it on their website.
Oh. Okay, whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, let's see. Journey, Flower. Maybe it wasn't. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. We're making stuff up. Welcome to the Viewport Podcast where we make stuff up. Oh, here we go. I can't wait for this one. Arc 2, starring Vin Diesel.
What's your favorite title for this game? I think mine is still The Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, I think that was
like
my favorite too. When I saw that one, that took the cake.
Is there a tweet thing on this? Can I read some of these? I haven't gotten to indulge in this.
Oh, what do you mean? Is there like a tweet thread on the titles?
Yeah, is someone like wrong answers only? Is there something
we should make one. I just saw one tweet that said Fast and the Furious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think when we were watching this live, I don't think you guys realized it was Vin Diesel right away. And I was like, whoa, that guy looks like Vin Diesel. And you're like, wait, what, Alex?
I was like, why is he in a dinosaur game? I was like, that can't be him.
Except it was not quite Vin Diesel. His head was way too thin is what we agreed on. Like, he got squished a little bit. Or something. It just didn't look quite right. But
Hot take.
Go ahead,
Hot
Tristan.
take.
Okay.
I think The Rock would have been a better fit for this video game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
the voice acting included a lot of just grunting.
He's got some room from Scorpion King, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got, or is that Vin Diesel? I don't remember.
No, that was Rock.
Okay.
I think the other thing that Alex reminded us the other day was the animated show, which has like 50 Academy Award winners.
That was the next part. You stole my thunder.
Oh, sorry.
Anyways, Arc the animated series. We'll get into that at the same time while we're on it. That's a star-studded cast. Let's be real here.
Yeah, it has a lot of big names.
What? I don't know how to phrase this.
I'm just left feeling like
did I miss something? Is Ark this big of a game?
We missed a bus somewhere because apparently Ark is the biggest grossing game ever created.
Did I miss the train somewhere? I don't know. This was just hilarious, honestly.
Do I take one for the team and just like check it out?
I think you have to.
I've heard it's very buggy, so you'll be attuned to it if you play it.
I just play Cyberpunk.
Fantastic.
It'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. This was hilarious.
Well, that's funny. I
just
looked up Ark on Steam, and I have it like blacklisted from the Steam stores. Like it's not supposed to show up in my stores.
Yeah. I like how during the Ark reveal we were like, is this Turok? Is this like some Horizon Zero Dawn like spin-off? Because they went into like a cave, right? And there's much like future technology. And we're like, what's going on here? And I was like, Arc 2. And we're like, what?
Okay.
All right, let's keep moving. Fall Guys Season 3.
Yay.
I gotta pick up some more crowns, but
you gotta steal some crowns from some children again, Tristan. Okay, Elite Dangerous Odyssey. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me of remember EVE Online, and then they made their like console shooter game spin-off thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me of that. Evil Dead, the game.
Big fan of the film franchise. I'm not sure about the games.
Yeah.
I think they had some games before.
Mm-hmm. They did. Yeah, it looked kind of iffy. I don't know. I have to see more.
All right, we had Ghouls and Goblins Resurrection, or as Tristan calls
Grabbed by
the Ghoulies. Grabbed by the Ghoulies. Tristan, you better play this game.
That game is so hard. I don't know if you guys ever played it. Like, it's a really hard game.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's insane.
Because it's like beat the game and then go beat the game again, right?
Yes. Yeah, because it was originally an arcade game, so they wanted to gouge as many coins out of you as possible.
Don't get grabbed.
By the Ghoulies.
Capcom Arcade Stadium?
Cool.
Play against old... They said it was free, right? You said they'd have to pay for some games in the future, but I think they said some of the original games would be free.
Yeah. So good library of classic titles.
Microsoft Flight Simulator Xbox port. Oh boy.
Sure.
I'll be curious to see how it runs. Well,
if it runs on the Series
fine,
X,
honestly.
If it runs on Series X,
yeah.
If it comes out on Game Pass, I'll take a dive.
I'm
Just
pretty
I'll say right now,
pretty sure it
it'll
is
run
on
better.
Games Pass.
This game will run better on your Series X than it will on your PC because of your CPU.
Yeah, it actually will. Yeah.
Guys, I'm upgrading. Don't worry.
Okay. Oh boy. Next one, Returnal release date.
Is Returnal the third person horror roguelike?
No, it's that woman who's like stuck in a time loop. And every
Yeah.
time she died. Yeah, horror. I guess it's
I'm
horror,
excited about that one.
Oh, I just hate the title. I got nothing against the game. The game looks alright.
I put it on my wish list on my PS5.
Ooh, look at this guy.
Mm-hmm. Has a PS5.
Alright, Tristan, well, March 19th. Put it on the calendar.
Yeah, let's do it. Or I'll do it, I guess.
We can update your calendar together. Okay. We have It Takes Two. Speaking of updating calendar together, It Takes Two, which is Mr.
Yosef's game, right?
Josef Fares' game.
It looked
Another buddy title, so
Buddy title, yeah. I
It
like
looked
that.
nice.
No co-op. It's a buddy title.
I like the story and setting a lot more than the A Way Out.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, I think they've always been pretty good stories. I've seen a fair bit of A Way Out, and I think a couple, or maybe the previous title that he came out with. So yeah, should be a pretty good game.
Alrighty. Elder Scrolls Online Gates of Oblivion.
Finally doing
Oblivion
it.
Gate? Oblivion Gate?
Is Skyrim content already
Yes.
in that game? Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they already pulled out.
Yeah,
the big
they already
boys.
milked that one. Yeah.
We had another trailer for Monster Hunter Rise, as well as an announcement for a demo in January.
And now the rumors of PC, that wasn't revealed at TGA, right?
No, that was part of the Capcom leak.
Right, okay.
The hack, I guess, more. It wasn't really a
Mhm.
leak. We have Evil West, which honestly I don't remember that one that
That
much.
that
I
was
thought
like
that was
Zombie
Evil Dead.
Wild West, wasn't it?
Oh, that was like literally like
Yeah, we
Red
thought.
Dead Redemption.
Yeah, we thought it was like Call of Juarez or something with zombies.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it looks okay, but
Yeah, it looked kind of generic.
interesting setting. But anyways, what else we got? Scarlet Nexus. So Alex is the only guy who actually knew this was a game.
Yeah, I remembered this one. It's like it kind of reminds me artistically, like Code Vein. It might be the same studio, honestly.
It's Bamco.
Yeah, so it's Bamco's stuff, so it's gonna be a lot of the same crew. But yeah, it looks like action gameplay, kind of like Devil May Cry or something, so it should be pretty fun. I'll have to check it out once it comes out.
It's okay. They did the trailer. It was Scarlet Nexus crossed the oral cigarettes. So there you go.
Oh, nice. Good band.
Why did I just do a Tarzan? Anyways, Among Us, the airship map. So all of you Among Us players out there, you
Dude,
can betray your friends on an airship.
Yeah,
my entire
anybody
org
sus?
is gonna get super excited.
Oh no. Hey, just random also another announcement because there was the Nintendo Direct thing today, the Indie World, coming out on Switch, Among Us.
I hope
There you go.
has crossplay against everything. I think that's a big thing because like people on PC play with people on mobile. Like that's how we played at work.
It'll probably be that way then. If it's already crossplay on PC, I assume it'll be because it's only coming to Switch. I think is the only console release, so there's no like bitterness with Nintendo. It's like, yeah, we don't want people playing with PS4 people, or PlayStation people, but I don't know. Nintendo's done weird stuff. # free melee, things like that, right? Tristan, we got double crossover here. We got Fortnite cross Master Chief
with the red and blue thing. Wait, was it? Yeah, that was Fortnite. And Ninja showed up.
Oh
man.
And Ninja,
Ninja was there. Yeah.
We got Fortnite cross The Walking Dead.
Fortnite Ninja.
I think it's a meme at this point, but I haven't actually played Fortnite in a very long time, guys.
I've heard nothing about Fortnite in a long time. Have we talked about it in the past, 6 months?
Fortnite?
Yeah.
We brought it up, but I don't think there's anything huge on it. I think we talked about it a lot when they got removed from the App Store, right?
Ah, that's right. How's the last story, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Ruined King, a League of Legends story.
I'm so excited.
Finally. Uh-oh.
It's like turn-based, right?
There are the words. He's so excited.
I am really excited. I have become a Riot shill at this point. I will eat anything that they give me at this point.
I'm going to say right now, there was always the meme that it should be called Riot Game, right? Because they only make one game. I think they released 4 games this year.
Oh, they're pumping that stuff out. Wild Rift, Valorant, Runeterra, TFT.
Runeterra.
Well, TFT's in the League client, but yeah.
Yeah, but still, separate game technically, right? And to cap it off, we had a Mass Effect will continue. And it's like, okay.
That's the subtitle. That's the subtitle.
I joked at that at first. I was like, is that the new game? Will continue?
Mass Effect : will continue.
And with this one, for me, it sits in the same boat as Dragon Age, where it's like, you've got a lot of trust to build back.
Yeah, and they're taking, they had Andromeda too, that was a little bit of debacle.
That's where they lost more trust.
Yes.
They did not gain back.
I can't believe they're working on 2 games at the same time.
Yeah, it seems like a really bad idea, and since they haven't made a game that people
we don't know what they're working on per se. I feel like Dragon Age is what most of them are on, and they could be Mass Effect in pre-production. But you have to also remember they're trying to fix Anthem, right?
Oh my god.
Did the rework come out? Is the realm reborn, so to speak?
Am I gonna get the email, the Anthem 2.0 artifact? I get an email from Valve every month. Please try out Artifact 2.0.
I looked up Anthem on Google, and there's the auto suggestions of what people ask. The first one is Anthem still alive in 2020? And the second one is Anthem the game dead?
Very valid questions.
Yikes. I don't know. I think that's a sinking ship, but who knows? All right, this has already gotten a lot longer than a normal podcast goes, but we had a lot to talk about. AKA, we had one thing to talk about in terms of a game, and then we had.
But it was a big game.
Let's do a quick recap of Game Awards this year. What do you guys think?
Considering it was remote, I think they pulled it off pretty well. Seeing the winners on Zoom was kind of weird, but
it was funny because most of them just didn't seem to really want to be there.
Especially the non-winners. They just kind of showed up on screen for half a second, and then they hung up the call on them.
And then nobody prepared remarks or anything. They're just like, "Oh wait, I actually won something. I guess I gotta say something. Thanks, Mom."
What did you think of the guest stars that showed up? Christopher Nolan.
Oh my god. Video games.
Do you think he's played any of? Do you think he's played any of the Game of the Awards?
Wait, there was one person where we were like, this person's definitely just reading off a teleprompter.
Yeah, there was Brie Larson, and then there was it was a sports player, right?
Yeah, I think Albert knew the name. I think Gal Gadot also didn't really know what was going on when she was presenting.
But Brie was very obviously just reading whatever script she was supposed to be reading at the time.
Video games?
Video games? I liked it. I liked the year that Dwayne The Rock Johnson went on stage. That was a good one.
But overall, I don't know. I guess I'm still of the same opinion. Like, the awards really don't matter at this point. The TGAs is really just another, like, E3 event, kind of, to me. Where you're
going to be honest.
Gonna watch it for the previews. Yeah, and honestly, I think that is more appropriate.
People give it crap for being like, you're an award show. But I feel like these are the same people that watch an award show like the Oscars, and they're like, no one cares about award shows anyways. And so it's like,
I feel
fill it with something fun then.
I feel for a large part, the awards are meaningless in this. So, it doesn't mean anything to have won the Game Award in any category.
Exactly. Alrighty. I think that about does it. I'm stuttering because if anyone wants to jump in, this is your chance to tell us that we have a car that needs buying or something. I don't know.
Yeah, can we go on another half an hour tangent? Do we have anything else we can talk about for a little bit?
We could talk about EA acquiring Codemasters or
God.
Doomslayer's coming to Fall Guys. Anyone? Any takers?
Can we kind of dissect Game Crunch and do they deserve best direction?
Oh gosh, okay. That wraps it up for episode 63 of Viewport Relay. Viewport Relay is available on Radio Public, iTunes, Google Music, Stitcher, Podbean, and all your favorite podcast directories. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe, review, and share it with your friends. We're also on social media as Viewport Gaming on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But Tristan, why Viewport Gaming?
Well, Viewport Relay is part of Viewport Gaming, a website that provides a look into video games through reviews, features, and podcasts. You can find all Viewport Gaming content at viewportgaming.com.
And you can find Tristan's bite-sized reviews on his Twitter.
at 3_Stan.
Hey, no plugs.
Actually, that's not even the right handle, but sure.
Okay, well, you just gave some random Twitter user.
No, well, that's my main handle.
Millions of views. Anyways, as always, I've been your host, Albert Corson, joined by Tristan Jung.
Goodbye.
And Alex Nestor.
See you next time.
Tune in next episode for our 2020 recap.